We are here live at South Boston for the Maritime Racing League, the DQ Mountain Road 250. Here at this short track, we are live on Checkered Flag Interactive with Steve Bonesteel up in the booth for tonight's action. The field is just now getting set and getting down onto the grid behind the pace car. A lot of drivers here tonight. Last week we were at a road course. We were at Okayama, a completely different beast than anything we have been to all season long, and now we are here at this short track where we once again turn left, bang some bumpers, and we have no grass to drive off into, although we do have both sides of the track covered by a wall that if you hit, you will find yourself in trouble. Here tonight at this short track, that middle line will come into play at some point or another, because here at South Boston, that middle line can be used, especially when you're in larger packs, although we will see these drivers stick to the bottom of the track for the majority of the race. We've got 250 miles here, I do believe, unless I am wrong. So it's going to be an exciting race here at South Boston, again for the DQ Mountain Road 250. And the reason I mentioned that is a 250 race, this is the first of three Tim's Corner Motorsports Triple Crown events here in the MiRL. The top points getter out of all three 250 events will receive a $25 iRacing gift card. $25 can go pretty far here on iRacing. It can almost pay for 3 months of your membership. Depending on what kind of discounts you get, you can get 2 tracks, 2 cars. And depending on what you want, you can have test sessions, hosted sessions, all kinds of good stuff here. So $25 on the line out of the first of 3 Triple Crown events. We've got 250 laps here on the board, so not quite 250 miles. It's a very short track, although we do have 250 laps, so that's where the 250 comes from. Again, the DQ Mountain Road 250 here as the pace car gets ready to roll on off. We are set and ready for racing. And here tonight I'm going to have Brandon Wilkinson up in the booth with me to bring the action to you. He will be joining you guys very shortly here as these guys head around this track getting ready. 2 pace laps at this short track, and that's definitely needed. A lot of drivers here, so you got to get up in line, got to get double file, got to get all your troubles sorted out. And they're going to be going green flag this time by with the base car lights off. Such a short track, so many drivers. Expect for some great racing here tonight. Pace car is off. We are away for 250 laps at South Boston for the DQ Mountain Road 250. Brought to you by Checkered Flag Interactive. Diving down, you see some smoke there. No caution early on. Jumble of cars towards the front. Smoke all over the place. No caution though. So all these leaders going to continue pushing on here early 2 by 2. The first 4 are single file. That's going to allow them to kind of pull away here. We've got Jake Goodwin on your screen with Steven Matthews on his outside. Steven trying to hold strong in that middle lane. Like we said in the pre-race, the 13 down on pit road, he's smoking. The 199, Jake Goodwin's not going to be able to hold on to that fifth spot. Steven Matthews will use that momentum off of that middle line to get right around him there. We've got a battle up towards the front. Keith Mack looking for that second place. Ronald McKay, the 03, has led all 3 laps after starting on the pole. So he is sitting pretty right now, but he's got that number 22, Keith Mack. He is a hard charger. He was hard charging last week. And then that number 34, Mike Rhino, he was the winner last week, and he was just had a dominating performance. So he is here right now trying to maintain that second spot, but he's got a teammate on his inside, and it does look like Keith Mack will take away that second spot for the moment, at least. here as we continue to watch that battle for second place. We are 8 laps in, and we've got the 83 going around, trouble on the front stretch. Big trouble here, this short track. Not a lot of room to maneuver. Like we said earlier, there's no grass for these drivers to really smash into, although there's walls on both sides that they can hit, and it does appear that these drivers found that inside wall. We're going to pull up the replay. We will go up into the chopper. This is 1 lap before the incident. You see that number 98, Stephen Matthews, right behind the 83. He's getting loose, sends him around, and then some other drivers trying to avoid him just pile in, and they just can't really go anywhere, and that 98 stuffed in there. Not too much damage for him, and we'll take another look at the replay and see what happened after that, causing the big stack up. There you see Chris Roma get turned around. The 29 goes into the inside wall. They pile up trying to dodge him on that inside line. Luckily for the drivers that did pile in, you're not going fast enough here to get too much major damage, although it looks like a few drivers might have busted the radiator there. They slammed in at just the right angle. A lot of smoking cars there, so carnage coming off turn 4 early on. And we're going to head off to a quick commercial break. Do not go away. Checkered Flag Interactive will be right back, and Wilkinson will be up in the booth with me. And we are doubled up once again here for South Boston racing action in the Maritime Racing League on Checkered Flag Interactive here. Pace car lights are off. We are set and ready to go. We are going to be watching this restart closely because it's going to get exciting. These drivers so close to each other. Pace cars away. Green flag is in the air. Things looking pretty good towards the front. The majority of the front of the field getting single file, but Mike Rhino is all over the back bumper, the 0-3 early on here. He is not going to be giving up. It looks like he will be some strong competition, as he always is here in the MiRL. Jake Goodwin in the 199, he has worked his way up into that 3rd spot, so he is definitely looking strong early on. I mean, it is just so early to really be able to tell anything definite, but these drivers all look pretty good here towards the front as Jake Goodwin looks to get that 2nd spot away from Mike Rhino.
You know, Steve, Jake past 2 years has been one of those drivers who's always up front, always pretty consistent, and he's always the one to watch here at South Boston. A very smooth, calm driver inside the race car, and it shows in the results. So we'll see what Jake Goodwin has here.
He's doing a good job maintaining that bottom line when Mike Rhino's not giving him a ton of room at times. They're coming off these corners, so definitely a strong battle here for this 2nd spot, and that's starting to allow Ronald McKay to start to pull away. Not too much, but just enough to have that comfort zone as Mike Rhino once again drops down in front of Jake to reclaim that 2nd spot comfortably. Another driver that I want to take a look at is that number 61, Ricky Arbaugh. He's popped up into the top 5 now in that number 61. And then last week we had Sean Pierce in that number 21. He was our in-race reporter. Definitely, he said, when we talked to him pre-race last week at Okayama, he was not a road course driver. He did not really expect much more than what he got, which I do believe was an 11th place finish. But here we have him this week at this oval racetrack. He is in the top 5, and he's knocking on the door in the back of the number 61. Of course, definitely a wad of cars there. Mike Rhino got up into the outside wall there, Brandon. That's going to be a problem as the caution comes out.
Yeah, a tough break early on here for many drivers, including Mike Rhino, who, we talked about smooth drivers before there, Steve, and Mike is, most of his top 5 are always very consistent drivers, and the MiRL is one of the more demanding leagues, and if you're not consistent, if you're not smooth, nothing's going to show at the end of the year, and that's why you see these top 5, top 10 drivers always standing out here in these tough driver track and driver races. So a good job so far by most of the drivers. We only got 2 cautions in between of 25 laps, and this track can be a pretty tough track at times. So a good job by these drivers to keep calm.
And there you saw on your screen the number 92, Tony Stevens, having a little bit of an issue there. Caution did come out. We are going to hop off to a quick commercial break. Do not go away. We will be right back in South Boston. And we are back here at South Boston with the pace car lights off. The 03, Ronald McKay, is away. Mike Rhino's on the inside line for this restart, so he will be taking a look underneath Jake Goodwin. No problems there. Jake Goodwin might even be able to take away that top spot on the high side, as we've almost got some 3 wide there. Mike Rhino looking underneath that 199, the 199 looking at the back bumper, the 03 there. Slight tap out of the corner, but everything looking clean though.
Yeah, it was getting pretty scary there to start as the 2 Revolution Racing teammates, Mike Rhino and Ronnie McKay, looked to go 3 wide there going into the first turn, but Jake Goodwin with a good run on the high side able to come back in line as we run just about single file.
As these guys just dive off in the corner there, action shot sitting on the pace car wall. And I mean, lap times here are incredibly quick. You will see these drivers go around this track within 15 seconds, and the caution's out once again.
Turn 3, we have Chris Roma in the number 83 around and in hard into the inside wall. Trouble to the motor of the number 83 as he is smoking as he enters the front stretch pits. Tough break for the number 83.
Yeah, that's the second time tonight, Brandon, that he's been involved with that wall pretty hard. And that number 83, I do believe if that first hit wasn't enough, this second one might just be enough to take him out. There's not a single part of the sheet metal on that car except for the roof that doesn't really have a dent on it. And on your screen, you've got the TCM logo. Here tonight at South Boston, the first of 3 events where drivers can earn points to place in the Triple Crown for the MiRL. And whoever has the top amount of points after 3 250 races, 250 lap races, will win a $25 iRacing gift card here as the pace car lights are off. These drivers will have that in the back of their minds. $25 can go a long ways here on iRacing. Pace car is off. We are away this time. Jake Goodwin's on the inside line. Mike Rhino will be up by the wall. Definitely not where he wants to be. He's already had a run-in with the wall, as you can see. Wow, we got trouble. Big trouble.
Back in turns 3 and 4. Wow.
Brandon, that was crazy.
Yes. Oh man. Ricky Arbo, Tim Terry, Don Stevens, Craig McDonald, Ronnie McKay, who is also going over the radio with race control and the other drivers, expressing his frustration with the driver, Jake Goodwin.
Yeah, there, we just took a replay from above. You can see that Jake Goodwin did not have a choice in hitting the number 03 there in the lead. He got tapped from the rear. We'll take one more look at it here. We are up from above. Ronald McKay in the 03. He went from being the leader to where he is now in 16th. And there you see that 199 get a slight tap from the 61, just enough to shunt him into the 03, who then collects in front of the entire field, absolutely demolishing everyone from about 12th on back.
Yeah, McKay really not happy as he uses his frustration over the radio, which is never a good thing with other drivers on the racetrack. So we'll see how this situation plays out as Mike Rhino, Ronnie's Revolution Racing teammate, takes the lead on lap 44. Just a tough break, but still 250 laps here tonight. We are on lap 44 and about 12th on back rather, as already having some big trouble here at South Boston. Regardless of that, lights on the pace car are off, and we are 1 to green. It's going to be Rhino, Mike Rhino, and Sean Pierce leading the field to green. Pace car ducks into pit road, and the 22 tries to get a jump on the restart, and green flag is out. The 21 of Sean Pierce, the 21, gets a good jump here on the high side. We'll see if he gets a penalty.
And Sean Pierce was our in-race reporter last week. He said road racing was not his forte. Well, this week, he's over back to the oval tracks where you turn left and you race hard, and he's showing it right now that even though he's been in some trouble here, he's seen the wrecks right in front of him. He's even gotten a slight tap from behind. He's out in the lead now, which is just a huge thing, because as you said, Brandon, the MiRL is so competitive. Caution out. Look at the back. Wall rider.
Big wreck and turn as David Cassidy and a few others. Looks like the 88. The 88 of Nicholas Noggle up on his left side on the wall.
We head back and take a look at what happened. David Cassidy just slammed into the 189. Huge wreck. We'll have to take a look at what happened there. As we take another look at that, we'll see if we can get a better view from the grandstands. The 189 got slammed into the inside wall. And from there, drivers just once again piled in. That's where the drivers have the most of their speed going into the corner, Brandon, and they just had nowhere to go.
And nowhere to go is about 3 cars piled in the middle of turns 1 and 2. And Race Control doing a very nice job here, Steve, tonight, controlling the tempers over the radio between driver communication. So Race Control really doing a good job, as this is a very aggressive race so far. 250 laps, and we were 50 laps in, but Race Control doing a very good job as drivers commenting on one another's actions on the racetrack. Race Control doing a very nice job keeping them as quiet as possible tonight.
And it's so hard from a driver's standpoint. You always just get so frustrated, especially here at these short tracks, when you could be half a track behind the wreck and still get involved, not have a single thing to do with it, and you still get totaled. So I can see where the drivers are coming from. Unfortunately, though, early on in the race, it just sucks to get taken out, and everyone knows that. But you got to keep it calm. And, I mean, you get that damage fixed, get out there, make the most of a bad day. And yelling at the other drivers is usually not the way to do it.
Oh yeah, of course it can be very frustrating, as we'll see if the frustration will continue here as the lights on the pace car off. And look at the number 21, Sean Pierce. And to his outside, and behind him on the inside is Revolution Racing Cars, Keith Mack and Mike Rhino, as the pace car pulls off. The 21 gets another good jump, and Sean Pierce is off.
And we'll be watching closely to see how this one shapes out. The 34, Mike Rhino, has a little bit of a challenge on his outside. That number 22, a teammate, always strong. Then you've got Jake Goodwin there in that 199. He's been hovering towards the front of the field all night long. He just can't quite get around these guys. I think, Brandon, he might be faster, but after getting involved in that earlier accident, he can't afford the cautions out again.
Looks like trouble again for the number 83, as he is around and facing the wrong way on the front stretch wall. So another tough break for the number 83 of Chris Roma.
There in that last replay, you caught the tail end of him flipping over. got the cameras on the number 83 coming around the corner. He looks to just be, let's see, he's got that number 98. Oh, there's trouble in front of them. The 98 goes down on him, and he connects him to the outside wall, collects a couple other drivers, so definitely very interesting there. Very, very interesting, actually, Brandon, because that was at the very back end of the field.
Yeah, and it amazes me there in that last run. We had 3 wide with Mackenzie Brewer, Chris Garnett, and a few other drivers there in the middle of the pack, and they were able to keep it off all the walls here at South Boston. And, I was watching it that whole time as the 21 got out to a great restart, and he left some great battles behind him. And unfortunately, just another tough break for the number 83. But I give that number 83, Chris Roma, I give him props for continuing on and not giving up, because that's at the end of the day, that's what racing is all about, is not giving up on a frustrating day. And he really hasn't gave up all night tonight. And so a good job of the number 83, Chris Roma, for just continuing on and making the best of what he can out of this tough race. As we work lap 60, lights on the pace car off, it's going to be Sean Pierce and Mike Rhino leading the field to green to lap 61. We'll see if the 34 tries to get a jump on the high side like the 21 did to him just a few restarts ago to take the lead.
And we will be going up into the chopper for this restart. The pace car pulls in, the 21 is off. No jump from Mike Rhino, but he's clean into that bottom line, right where he wants to be. A little bit of a tap there. Jeez.
Gets in the wall down the middle of the backstretch, but the 34, the Coors Light Revolution racing machine, Mike Rhino wants that lead back.
Caution is once again out here on lap 62. Not 100% sure what the caution was for that time. We will take a look at the back of the field, and it does look like it was around this area. I did see some drivers fall off, and yes, there it is.
Chris Garnett around in the middle of the back stretch, so another tough break for a driver who had a good run going last week at Okayama, but self-spun it around. So another tough break for the driver of the number 02 K-Dog Motorsports machine is Chris Garnett as he goes around in the middle of the backstretch.
As we take another look at that on the replay, he was right up there by the top 5, and he just kind of crowded the 38 towards the bottom and got turned around for it. So with that being said, we are going to take a quick commercial break. Do not go away. More South Boston demolition coming to you here in that from CFI. Back live here at South Boston for the DQ Mountain Road 250 the first of 3 Triple Crown events here in the MiRL. The driver that finishes up in the top points accumulated for the 3 250 races here in the MiRL will win a $25 iRacing gift card. Here is the green flag is out. Replays were flashing. 21 again getting a good start with the 34 Mike Rhino on his outside, not giving him a ton of room, but towards the front of the field I guess you really can't. He kind of gets into the back of him there. He's going to have to let up, go off the track, and now the 22 will look underneath of him. Teammates, of course, so no harm, no foul there. Brandon, the 34, drops in line, finds the place nicely, and he drops in the third. Caution is out once again. Again, another one of those situations where I'm not 100% sure what's going on out there. Can't really pull that one up. So we will just have to miss out on that replay there.
He's gonna win this thing.
Hey, admins, it's Steve Bonesteel up in the booth. You are live on Checkered Flag Interactive. Here we've got an interesting start to this race. A lot of beating and banging. If you had to say one message to the drivers, what's the message you want to take out to them right now?
We've tried to tell them to calm down a little bit. It's a long race. It's 250 laps. There's some guys that have already put it on the trailer because of damage, and I'm sure that's going to continue if these guys continue to bring out some yellow flags. It's the nature of the beast, though. It's South Boston. It's a tough little racetrack, and as long as these guys give it a little room, we're going to see some green flag racing before the end of this.
Yeah, definitely a lot of the cautions here tonight at South Boston really have not been necessarily something you can blame on one driver or another, and I really do have to agree. It just seems to be the nature of this short track. It is a beast for sure, so...
Yeah, my night didn't go the way I wanted to either. I didn't want to finish 25th in the number 75 Tim's Corner Motorsports Percy JDR graphics car, but... We'll load it up and come back next week at Stafford, but we'll see how this goes. We'll preach a little more patience to the drivers, and as long as they run their race cars and not their mouths on the in-game chat, we'll be fine. Enjoy the show.
Alright, that was Tim Terry up in the administrative booth, just sending a message, giving some thoughts on the racing we have seen so far here tonight. 75 laps into 250 here. These drivers once again ready to take the green flag. Pace car is in, the 21 is away. And yet another great start for that number 21, Sean Pierce there, just getting good starts on that inside line. The drivers behind him trying to fight it out, get single file. It's not going to happen very easily. It takes quite a few laps for these drivers to sort out positions, even for the front of the field. So right now that 21 is pulling away, but the caution's out, so no, he's not. Go up into the chopper towards the rear of the field to take a look at and see if maybe we can see what happened here on this caution. And it looks like the number 3 was just turned down on the inside wall. And another quick caution here. That was Jarrett butcher right there in the number 3 that got turned down to that inside wall, so a definitely unfortunate thing for him, but not too much damage on that number 3, so he'll get back out there and give it another go. We are on board with the 3rd place driver, the number 22 of Keith Mack. He was pretty competitive last week at Okayama, and we will be riding with him as we get ready for the green flag here. Pace car should be getting ready to pull in after this time by. The pace car light should be coming off, so we'll take a ride with him in the gyro cam to take a look at just how crazy these restarts are. And the pace car lights are still off, so we will have 2 to go. We apologize for the supersized Dairy Queen logo there for a moment. Just wanted to remind you guys this is the DQ Mountain Road 250 at South Boston, as the pace car will be pulling off this time by. We will take the green flag, riding on board with the number 22 of Keith Mack. Take this moment to crank your sound up. We are going to take a listen into the engines of these super late models here. It's so interesting to see how versatile and durable these cars are. These super late models really are some of the toughest cars on iRacing. I really think next to the truck and maybe even the street stock, you can't get much tougher than this car here. You can beat these things up, slam them into all 4 walls, or slam all 4 quarter panels in, that is. As long as your radiator and your engine's good to go, you can beat these things all over the place and still be competitive here. But the number 21 is starting to pull away from this 22, Keith Mack, who has just now gotten around teammate Mike Rhino for 2nd. And here, this is the longest run we have had in a while here at South Boston. We've had quite a few cautions early on to start this event out, and now that the field is starting to get strung out with a lot of drivers in the garage area, I think we'll see some long green flag runs. And just as I say that, the caution comes out once again. Pulling up the replay, we're taking a look at the number 88 of Nicholas Noggle. And Looks like he just cut down on the apron as the 91 gets turned behind him, so he had nothing to do with that caution, really just pulling to stay out of the way of the field. And the number 91 got turned. Chris Wanacott there in that 91, so no harm, no foul for him. That number 91 looks to be okay as we close in on the side of that car. He looks a-okay. So again, just as I was saying, that attests to how durable these cars are. You can beat them up, get spun, all kinds of stuff, and still be good to go. And here we are once again doubled up for the green flag. Lap 98 coming to 99 of 250 here at South Boston Speedway. The 21, Sean Pierce, is away, and we are green flag once again. And just like last time, Keith Mack right all over the back bumper, that number 21. This time he had to start up on the outside, but he is not going to be giving up easy. He has been fast all night long, one of the few cars along with, not even the number 21, Sean Pierce. He has some damage on the rear from the number 34 earlier, so really there are very, very few numbers of cars with no damage. I do believe the number 22 is one of them with no damage, so that zigzag number 22 is looking pretty good early on. That number 21, Sean Pierce, has worked hard to get his way up to the front, and there's the caution once again.
I think we got those technical difficulties fixed.
There's my partner Wilkinson, and we're taking a look at the replay there. The 05 was on the back bumper of that cluster of cars, and it does look like the number 3 just happened to get loose, tangled up a little bit there, and that backed up cars in front of Todd Cousins there. And that just found the number 3 in trouble, and Todd got into it. Number 29 got into it. And a pretty big pile up there midfield.
And not to take away from any of these drivers, but throughout the week here, there's been countless practice sessions where the track has opened up for practice for tonight's race, and Looking back at a trend here, the top 8, top 9 cars, top 10, they've been at all these practice sessions. And, not to take anything away from any of these drivers at all, but maybe the guys who practiced all week and maybe the guys who put in a lot of hard effort throughout the week to be ready for tonight are ready for any type of situation. I mean, look at the 61 of Ricky Arbo, who got involved in some pretty hard trouble there with the 03, just maybe 50 or so laps back, and he's all the way back up to 6th position on the racetrack. So maybe the guys who practiced all week in and out, maybe they're ready for every type of position that this race puts them in. But regardless of that or not, lights on the pace car are off as we were going to be working lap 107.
Pace car pulls off. 21 is away. Once again, deja vu for him. We are getting close to halfway done with this race, and we have seen plenty of beating and banging. If you guys like accidents, if NASCAR is your thing because you like the banging and the beating and the bumpers and all that, well, you tuned into a good place to do it. South Boston is a very tough track to stay off of other people. Honestly, it's as much as of a win to keep your car clean as it is to finish top 5 here. And most of the incidents, really, you can't even pin the blame on a single person. It's just so tough, as you see the 34 really getting loose there.
Yeah, look at the 61. He started 6th on that last restart, got around Chris Stewart on the outside line. So the 61 of Ricky Arbo made some good adjustments, and the crew really went to work as he suffered some damage about 50 laps back, as we were talking about, as he's challenging for 4th as the caution comes out. Trouble on the front stretch for Kyle Boudreau in the number 65 as he is around. Kevin Savory involved as his motor goes up in smoke as he's going to pull it down, most likely, as he will pull it down into the pits. So a tough break for the 189. And now it looks like race control is starting to get fed up with the actions on the racetrack, Steve, as Jarrett Butcher in the number 3 has been disqualified from this event.
Yeah, definitely a tough break for Jarrett. He's been involved in, I do believe, 3 of the cautions just recently here, so he definitely found himself in some trouble. But the admins got to do what they've got to do. They've got to put their foot down, make sure these drivers know that they cannot free-for-all it here. These guys are here to race, not to drive 30 miles an hour under caution, and I'm sure that the admins know exactly how they need to do it. The MiRL has always been a successful league. Pretty big name, I do believe. I mean, Tim Terry, one of the bigger names in the league races on iRacing. So the entire administrative team here for this series, they are not new to it, and they know exactly what they need to do to create a good series. It's just this track and so many drivers here, it makes it really tough to stay green, and that just makes tempers flare so easily, Brandon.
Yeah, but looking back at the name Tim Terry owns the Tim's Corner website, which also helps with the real-life Maritime Pro Stock Tour, which is what this series is based off of, guys from the Maritimes in Canada coming together on Wednesday nights to battle it out. Tim Terry also helps a little bit with the administration side of that, as he runs a business website, obviously Tim's Corner. And so who better than Tim Terry to run a series like this, as the pace car is off. And the 21 of Sean Pierce stacks the field up a little bit, but the 22 not tricked this time, as they are even going into turn 1.
Yeah, drag racing into turn 1. A very short drag race, that is, with these short front stretches and back stretches. The number 22, Keith Mack, almost getting clear of him there using that middle line, but it's not going to happen. Little bit of contact. No harm, no foul. Racing hard short track and nobody going around, so... But Mike Rhino is on the back bumper, the number 21. He's not going to be giving up easy. The number 22 still on the outside, trying to get down. Then you see Jake Goodwin getting back into the picture for this lead. He is looking on the outside of Mike Rhino, that number 34, who looks to be struggling a little bit after that right side damage with the wall.
Yeah, that 22 is not going away. Just like a fly in your bedroom. That 22 not shying away from the number 21 of Sean Pierce. Probably not happy from the contact that they have got into. But look at Jake Goodwin involved in some trouble early on here with the 03. But still back up there now, looking for third, and he'll take third off of turn 4.
Coming up on halfway, the 21 is still your leader there, the 22 looking underneath. And there's the caution once again.
In turns 3 and 4, so a tough break for Garnett once again here tonight at South Boston.
And we would like to remind you, we are here live at Checkered Flag Interactive for the DQ Mountain Road 250, the Maritime Racing League, having a rough race here tonight. These drivers just cannot stay off of each other, but we are going to take a quick commercial break. Do not go away. Checkered Flag Interactive will be right back with Steve Bonesteel and Brandon Wilkinson up in the booth. We are coming to halfway. Do not go away. More action and more beating and banging probably to come. Back live here. Pace car lights are off. Once again, we will be getting the green flag officially halfway through this race here at South Boston. The field is away there. Sean getting a new chance at having another good restart. Each and every restart since he's taken the lead, he has done a great job getting that car going. This time Keith Mack is once again not going away. He is right there on his back bumper. I mean, he's just within arm's length, and if he really wants to, he can get up there, maybe shake him down a little bit for that top spot. Of course, just now coming to halfway, so it's been a long race so far. A lot of caution laps. Well, Brandon, I do believe now that the field is really strung out with a lot of drivers in pit road in the garage, we could really start to see some great racing here tonight.
You know, even with all the cautions, if you look up front, like right now, Ricky Arbo diving it down into 1 and off 2 and into 3, taking the position. It's been racing like that up front all night. Drivers doing a really good job. and up front at least, and it's in the middle of the pack where racing always gets tight. That's not the driver's fault. It's not even the track's fault. It's just racing here at South Boston. Once you get a lot of drivers and towards the middle of a pack, they start bumping and banging, and it only takes one car to push them a little bit too much off the edge, and there they go, and there's the caution. So I think that's for the most part what we've seen so far. It hasn't been more completely stupid aggressive driving at all tonight. It's just been hard racing here at South Boston.
But like I said, now that the field is a little bit strung out, there is definitely a lot of potential here, and we're already starting to see the front of this field start to form up. And they're all single file, and they're starting to break away. The 0-1 there on the inside, letting these guys by. Taking a look from the chopper, the 61's looking under Mike Rhino, and that number 34 looked like he might be able to get that spot. The 61's looking pretty strong there. Looking from above at the 61 of Ricky Arbo, definitely looking good there. Sorry to cut you off there.
Oh, that's fine. The damage that Ricky had suffered earlier in the race here might be showing now. He might have a good handling car, and obviously Ricky is a great race car driver, but it looks like off the corners he just doesn't really get by, and that could be a problem as they approach Chris Garnett, slowing down there now on the apron, entering the backstretch pits. But the earlier incident might transfer into right now as he's trying to get by, but the outside lane with Mike Rhino really coming out strong every time.
Slight bit of contact there. The 34 is in the outside wall once again. Mike Rhino has found that wall a few times here tonight.
And it almost looks like to me, Steve, that Rhino's night right now going to bad to worse. The tires going away. The cars bouncing off walls and bouncing off other cars. That the driver of number 34, Mike Rhino, might just be frustrated at this point, and maybe it is getting the best of him tonight. But we got a challenge for second here is Jake Goodwin, looking for the second spot from the Revolution Racing driver Keith Mack.
And he dives down all the way by that inside.
Look at Ricky Arbo too. Arbo's caught up to that battle for second, as he's going to almost look for third here. If Jake can get by, he's going to try and follow through.
Exactly, Brandon. And it's just amazing how quickly battles can just hold you up here. And this has allowed Sean Pierce to just continue to pull away.
Yeah, 1.6 second lead for the driver of the number 21 that time by. Sean Pierce really looking well tonight.
And it's just like I said earlier on in the event. He said last week that road racing was not his forte, and we believed him, of course. But this week we expected him to have a rebound, but we weren't quite sure if he was going to be able to beat these guys like he is right now. Although now that Jake Goodwin is clear of traffic, he has Sean in his sights, and I've got a feeling he's faster. He's already cut that gap down to about second in just 5 laps of being in front of everyone else. So Jake Goodwin in that 199 is looking fast right now, using that unorthodox line. Something I don't think I've really ever seen here, but it's working.
We noticed that last year too. with Jake Goodwin always running his own line, his own unique style of racing. And, that's what makes the MiRL Racing League so competitive and so fun to watch every week. Week in and week out, every driver has their own way of racing. They have their own personality. It's not just the same, let's go racing. Every driver has their own strategy, their own team. It's just every driver is different on this racetrack, and every driver is different in the series, and that's why it makes the MiRL one of the greatest leagues to watch week in and week out.
We are riding on the nose. Here to see how he maneuvers around. We will continue to ride on the front of the car here, diving under the 65. The 05's next in line. Will the 05 make it easier? Will he fight for it?
Taking a look back here, as Arbo got clear of the 22, Arbo is caught up to the 199 of Goodwin. And like we said before the race, Arbo is just one of those finesse drivers who's always so smooth and just so consistent, and he's showing it right now, not letting the damage and the trouble he's got into earlier on in the race really affect him right now. But we'll see what happens, as we've still got 96 laps remaining in this race.
Jake Goodwin making contact with the 05 there, moving him up out of his way. The 61 will follow through, making an effective pass there. So Jake Goodwin is closing in on the leader, Sean Pierce, who is having a little bit of a trouble, Brandon, getting around these slower cars.
Yeah, these lap cars here battling for position, and Pierce doing a really good job holding his line and just being calm, cool, and collected inside the race cars. He's having a little bit of trouble getting by that 57, as Goodwin almost pulling up to his bumper there on entry of 3, and he's going to be all over this 21 here in a few laps.
And now with Jake Goodwin on his back bumper, this battle for the lead is going to be heating up, and it's going to be time for him to step his game up, Sean Pierce that is, because he cannot really afford to lose the lead now that he's there.
Goodwin looks low into 3. No room for the driver of the 199 as Sean Pierce continues to lead off 4, but a little bit of a wiggle might be able to give Jake Goodwin a run off 2. We'll see what happens as he looks low coming off turn 2. He looks low going into 3, and he'll get the room.
And it looks like he'll probably be able to get the pass as they go side by side down the straightaway here. Ricky Arbaugh right on the back bumper. Sean Pierce hanging strong in that middle lane. He's got to be careful here. Jake Goodwin using up the apron there. Definitely just utilizing every part of the track, doing a beautiful job doing so.
But Pierce, being a very smart driver, noticing that Jake using the apron, he has more room to come down on the bottom and get a run off the corner, as he does right there. He's going to retake the lead and look to get down to the bottom here if he can get that same run off too. He does, and he'll retake the lead and get clear.
That is definitely impressive, Brandon. I know he's still getting a battle from Jake there, but he was able to make that pass on the outside, and that alone is quite impressive.
It is impressive that the 199 of Jake Goodwin gets all the way up to his bumper in like 10 laps, a very short 10 laps here, and now he can't make the passes. Sean Pierce really keeping side by side here in the corner and almost pulling off down the straights, as he's going to take the lead and get down to the bottom.
And yet another good job holding him off for the lead. Definitely Sean Pierce flexing his muscles early on.
It looked like when Goodwin was there on the inside, Arbo looked to the outside, but he thought better of it, maybe saving a little bit of his tires in case he does have to make that outside move if we do get a green flag run. But a very good battle here for the lead between Pierce, Goodwin, and Arbo early on.
And this is exactly kind of what we were thinking would happen. Now that the cautions are out of the way, the racing really has been able to step up, and now we've just got this great battle for the lead, and it's just great to see this outside line just be effective. That's just something you don't see.
No, it's really not. And Pierce doing a good job outlasting Goodwin here on the outside. Goodwin gets to his inside, and you know, Goodwin is clearly the faster car on the track right now. But Pierce doing a good job keeping him pinched down, getting the runs off the corner, doing everything he has to do to stay in that lead. But Goodwin gets a good run, and the caution comes out. It's going to be Travis Roma in the 38 and Todd Cousins in trouble here in the middle of the back straightaway. Though that could have been pretty costly if that was about 2 laps later, as the leaders were catching them pretty fast.
And we pull up the replay there. Roma just got on the apron, got loose, and never was able to collect it. Keith Mack actually did get involved, and he's the driver that sent the 38 around. So a definite tough break there for the 38. Hard wreck for a couple drivers, actually, and that's unfortunate.
As we see here, Sean Pierce down pit road. He's going to take 4 tires. Jake Goodwin down pit road. He's going to take 4 tires as well. Ricky Arbo not coming down pit road. And his teammate, Chris Stewart, also not coming down pit road. And you know, Steve, I was watching that 49 of Chris Stewart. Being a race car driver here myself, I've raced with Chris countless times in different racing leagues and different series. Chris is also one of those drivers who's very smooth, very consistent, and very calm in whatever position. He might be 3 wide, 4 wide for the lead, and that dude somehow stays calm. I mean, if I'm 4 wide, 3 wide for the lead at a track, you know, somehow my heart races, and it seems like the driver, the number 49, whatever position he's in, his heart rate almost goes down, and he's just very calm, cool, and collected, and so doing a good job here tonight, missing those wrecks like I thought he would. And it's going to be Ricky Arbo and Chris Stewart now your top 2.
And under caution once again tonight, we will take a moment, hit the commercials. Do not go away. Checkered Flag Interactive will be right back. Back live here. The pace car is down, and we are away. Ricky Arbo gets a great start there. Jake Goodwin, though, will be in second place. Where's our leader from earlier, Sean Pierce? He's back there in 5th, so he's got some fast cars to go through right now if he wants to get back up to the lead.
You know, Arbo didn't pit there, and you know, I have no clue why Arbo wouldn't pit. I mean, he had to use up all of his tires and everything he had to get through that pack to catch up to these guys, and he didn't pit, so that could be pretty costly here. It sounds like we've got cars in the wall in the front stretch, but we stay green.
And Sean Pierce is through to 3rd place. Now Ricky Arbo in front of him, and then he's got to get around Ricky as he gets loose there in the wall. Ricky's having some trouble there. This is about to get close. Look at Mike Rhino.
Mike Rhino dives it down into 3, and he gets the room on the bottom, but Sean Pierce using that top side, and he will take the 2nd position. Wow.
Chris Wanacott, though, in the number 91, he has moved up after having a few incidents there in the middle of the race. He is sitting in the top 5. Definitely a good rebound for him.
Not to mention, he also started in the 22nd position tonight. So, The driver of the number 91 doing a really good job.
But Jake Goodwin now has about of a second of a lead over Sean Pierce, who has just now gotten into second place and cleared the other competition. So now it's going to be a battle to see if Jake Goodwin is really faster than Sean Pierce or not.
Tough break for Arbo there in that restart as he's all the way back to the 8th position as Ronald McKay passes him. But caution out on the racetrack. It's going to be trouble. It's going to be trouble for the number 51 of Kyle Gammon, who spun her around going into turn 1 and hit the outside wall. And like I said, Ricky Arbo, I'm not sure why he wouldn't pit, but he will bring it down pit road. It's going to be the 65 of Boudreaux getting the free pass. You know, Steve, Arbo brings it down a second time on pit road.
You're not sure what's going on with him. He definitely just choosing to stay out at that point was really a huge risk, and I don't think he was in a place to be able to take it, especially with everyone else around him coming down pit road, getting 4 fresh Goodyears. Or I always say Goodyears, but they don't use Goodyears here in these super late models.
I believe it's the Hoosier or the iRacing.com tire, but it's one of those. Lights on the pace car are out, and it's going to be Jake Goodwin and Sean Pierce bringing the field to green. Going to work lap 190, as we saw earlier here, Steve, that Sean isn't afraid to really throw it up there and try and get a jump on these restarts. But Jake Goodwin, one of the more aggressive drivers here tonight, and that is shown. So we'll see what happens here as the pace car is off and Jake gets a good restart. Pierce and Ryan will battle off too for the second spot. Sean Pierce looked to have it going into turn 3. Mike Rhino dove it in just a little bit, but Pierce is going to take the spot, but a little bit of a tap sends the 21 around.
And then
We've
he
got
gets hit.
trouble.
He gets hard from that 49, and that is definitely a tough break because I'm sure you guys could tell, but the 21 was one of my picks to get that win tonight, and I'm definitely disappointed. We'll take another look at that there.
Tough break for two drivers there. Chris Stewart and the number 49, who had such a good run. Like I said, very smooth and very good job staying out of trouble. Just couldn't miss that one.
Yeah, Mike Rhino just got into the back of number 21 and sent him around, and 49 just had nowhere to go. Coming off the corner, it was either go down and smack the car or go up and smack the wall, and probably the car also, and unfortunately he did hit both.
You know, we've seen it tonight. Jake Goodwin getting into the number 03, and right there Mike Rhino getting into the 21. And we've seen it middle of the pack too. It's just so easy to do with these high power super late models who really take off when you even hit the gas just a little bit. So you get one person who messes up their corner, they have to slow down more in the middle of the corner, and you get one guy who hit their corner perfectly and can really hit the gas hard. It just happens, the bumpers happen, and a car goes around. So it's just the point of racing here at South Boston, and we're seeing that pure South Boston racing here tonight. Well, lights on the pace car are off, and it's going to be Goodwin and Rhino bringing the field to green this time. We'll see if Rhino can get a good start. We've seen Rhino be very aggressive here in the late going in this race, middle to late going. So we'll see if Rhino can pick it up here on the outside. As lights on the iRacing.com pace car are off, it will pull in, and Jake Goodwin with the same spot this time on the restart gets another good restart and leaves the field behind him to race hard. Mike Rhino with the run on the outside looks to get clear into turn 3.
And another good start for the 199 towards the front as we come to the final parts of this race, the DQ Mountain Road 250. 250. Not sure why that's so hard to get
big
off
trouble down the backstretch. Ricky Arbo, Chris Wanacott, Craig McDonald, Mike Alexander, Kyle Gammon. Big trouble down the backstretch, Steve.
And we pull up the replay there, taking a look. We've got Keith Mack on your screen there, and you see him start to get together there, then diving into, wow, what a hard hit for that 65. We'll hop on board. Hopping on board with the number 65 of Kyle Boudreau. He is right behind him there a lap before the incident. You see him just driving around. They are pretty, tight up in front of him, and it just appears that they get into the wall and collects each other pretty hard. So definitely major junk there going into 3 and 4 Calamity Corner.
And Steve, with all the wrecks tonight, the top 3 have been there all night, but look at the number 55, Mackenzie Brewer, a young driver out of the Maritimes, doing a nice job here tonight, running in the 4th position. Obviously has to have a fast car to be up here still, not taking away anything from his machine and his crew, but Mackenzie Brewer doing an amazing job, missing all the trouble here tonight, and it's really showing. And look at Ronnie McKay up there in the top 5 after some huge trouble early on.
And definitely a lot of these drivers, it's a survival game now with just under 50 laps to go. We're getting into the final parts of this race. Each caution takes up 4 to 5 laps. And we're hoping to have this over with pretty soon, because if we don't, we won't have any cars left out on the racing track to finish.
Got 48 laps to go this time by as the lights on the pace car off. Is going to be Goodwin and Rhino. Rhino has sat in the hot seat the past 2 restarts, and he's seen Goodwin go at the same spot. So, Steve, I wonder if the 34 is going to try to jump this one a little bit.
I think he might try to pull a little bit, but I mean, there's only so much you can do there. As you can see how small the field is now. Just a number of cars left on your screen. Good start for Jake Goodwin, of course. Mike Rhino hanging tough on the outside, but he's got a teammate on his inside, and his teammate's not going to give up anytime soon.
Mackenzie Brewer looking for the third spot. He gives him a little tap, center of 3 and 4, but it's going to be Jake Goodwin leading the field that time by.
And Mackenzie Brewer is just falling off the pace a little bit there after getting into the back of Mike Rhino. The 51, Kyle Gammon, looking at the number 55. These are drivers that, I mean, we've only got 9 cars still running on the track, aside from cars that are 30, 40 laps down, just trying to pick up a couple more positions here.
And, Gammon was faced towards the inside wall on the backstretch that last wreck, and the crew went to work pretty hard as he came down twice that last caution, and he's running up in the top 5.
As we look at these two teammates once again battling it from Revolution Racing there. Keith Mack has moved up into that second spot, looking pretty good there. Jake Goodwin still the car to beat, and now that he's back out front, I think he's definitely got a very strong car. He's going to be coming up to put Sean Pierce 1 lap down. Sean Pierce, he led 123 of the laps here tonight, locked up the most laps led for the night. So, if anything, at least he can say that he was able to do that, but just letting these league lap cars go on the inside line, not fighting at all.
A driver who led the most laps and had a very, very fast car tonight. That's a very classy and mature move. The number 21 of Sean Pierce, just letting the leaders go. It's heartbreaking, really, to lead the most laps, but not be able to transfer it to possibly a win as we've got caution on the racetrack. And look at that, Steve. Revolution Racing teammates Keith Mack and Mike Rhino take down pit road as they still got quite a few laps remaining. The other Revolution Racing driver, Ron McKay, takes it down pit road as well. So these drivers are going to have some fresh tires to take on the 199. So we'll see what happens.
Going to be interesting here, especially with a lot of these cars just not up to pace and so many cars just being off the track. There will not be very many cars for these people to go through, and I do know the 55 and the 51, they're a little bit slower due to damage. And then Ronald McKay, a driver who started on the pole, by the way, he's had a rough night. He's pulled a whopping 9 pit stops, but then I look to Craig McDonald sitting in the 5th spot in that number 9. He has had 21, count it, 21 pit stops this race, and he is still sitting top 5 on the lead lap. That is incredible.
And make that 22 as the number 9 of Craig McDonald takes it down pit road, the young driver out of the Maritimes. So it's going to be Goodwin and Brewer. What a good job here by the number 51 of Kyle Gammon, suffering some damage through a lot of these cautions. The crew went to work pretty hard, and he's running up in the 3rd position, and behind them he's got the 3 Revolution Racing cars on fresh tires. So this is going to be a very interesting restart as the lights on the iRacing.com pace car are off as it rolls through turns 3 and 4. When it pulls off, it's going to be Goodwin and Brewer going at it for the lead.
We will just have to see here. The green flag is away. The 199 gets a great start. Oh! Oh!
Goodwin into the wall. Mackenzie Brewer gets into the number 199 of Jake Goodwin in turn 1 and sends him hard into turn number 1.
And we are going up into the chopper to take another look at that restart. And I've got a feeling Jake Goodwin is not going to be happy one bit. That 55 just gave him a punch right in the outside wall.
I have no words for that one. Wow.
That's just incredible that he even drove it in there that hard. Mackenzie Brewer, and I don't want to put him down at all, he's been solid top 10 all night long. Don't get me wrong, but he was half a second almost off the pace at the end of that little short run that last time by, and he's just he drove it in there and took out probably the fastest car in the race.
Yeah, you know, coming to the restart, it looks like Goodwin got, you know, a great restart as he has been all night. The 03 was on the restart behind Mackenzie. He gave Mackenzie a tap, and that accelerated the car, but going into turn 1, Mackenzie, you know, didn't recuperate from that tap and just let the extra speed dive into the corner. He got into the back of the 199, and there went the 199 of Jake Goodwin into the outside wall in turn number 1. Wow. Goodwin down pit road again as we are 2 to green is the call from some of the drivers down here. And Goodwin down pit road once again. We'll see if he can get caught up to this tail end of the field, as it looks like he's going to. Lights on the iRacing.com pace car off, and it's Mackenzie Brewer, Kyle Gaiman, Ron McKay, Keith Mack, and Mike Rhino, your top 5 as we work lap 225 coming to the green. It's going to be 25 to go.
And it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out, Brandon. I mean, we've got drivers that wouldn't have even had a chance if all of these cautions wouldn't have happened, and now they are out here fighting for the lead. Just think of the chaos in the point standings right now if some of these drivers get caught where they are right now, like Jake Goodwin.
Yeah, before the restart, the 03 was already all over the 55 of Brewer, so that's a weird thing to do before we even get going green, as the 22 is going to dive it in. He's going to take second in the 03, not giving any leeway. He's going to look for the third spot from Mackenzie Brewer. Mackenzie Brewer looks to be stuck in the outside, a little bit of contact, and they all save it. Mackenzie Brewer gets down, and a little bit of trouble for the Revolution Racing teammates, Mike Rhino and Keith and Ron McKay.
And right now we've got this battle for the lead, the 51, trying to hold off Keith Mack. I just don't know how long he can do it. Kyle Gammon.
Keith Mack.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead.
Kyle Gammon just really just hasn't had the speed all night long, and now that he's up in the lead, he doesn't want to give it up, but how far is he willing to go as Keith Mack is going to get the pass done on the outside almost?
Yeah, Mack was all over him for a few laps. He almost got contact in the middle of turns 1 and 2. The 51's going to back off, it looks like, down the backstretch, and it's going to be Mack coming off turn number 4 leading that lap.
And now that Keith Mack is out front, unless we get a caution, I don't think that's going to change. 51 just is not fast enough to get up to his back bumper. Jake Goodwin still battling with traffic here, and the drivers right there, Mike Rhino, can't get around the 55 quite yet. So I think Keith Mack might just have this locked up.
Yeah, Rhino and the 34 all over the 55. Still can't get by. Looks like he's going to dive it into turn 3. And the 55 of Brewer has to give room as Rhino dives it in and takes the 3rd position. Look at the number 29, Mike Alexander, and the number 29, who is a lap car as well, but running in front of the 03 and the 199. The 03 of McKay not happy with the number 29, is he's saying that he's holding him up.
And with that said, we've got McKay up in the wall there. Trouble, instant replay coming to you. Taking a look, he gets tapped, caution's out.
Caution. And it's going to be Kyle Boudreau and the number 65 with a blown engine.
Man, he just came down in front of the 55, and nothing the 55 Mackenzie Brewer could have done for that one right there. Kyle just came down right in front of him, and that's going to make this probably about a 5 or 6 lap shootout, Brandon.
Yeah, the 65, not sure what he's doing, but going pretty fast around this racetrack for under caution. He's going to bring it down pit road on the front stretch, but not a good day for the number 65 of Kyle Boudreau. And as you said, this is going to be a very interesting restart as we will work 10 to go next time by. Mackenzie Brewer not happy with the number 65. We've had Mike Rhino get involved in some trouble, Kyle Gammon get involved, Keith Mack involved with some trouble early on tonight as well. All of these drivers, I think at one point, have been involved in some type of trouble on the racetrack. Jake Goodwin, though, Goodwin is up there with them too, so we'll see if Goodwin can make anything happen as he's up there in the 6th position. But the one I'm watching on this restart is the number 55 of Mackenzie Brewer. Not that fast, but he's able to make some moves happen, and we'll see what happens. He's definitely going to be the one that I watch here on this next restart to see if he makes anything happen at all. The 65 of Boudreau expressing his sorrow for the number 55 of Mackenzie Brewer, saying it wasn't on purpose whatsoever, and looks like the situation there has been cleared over radio chat in between these drivers, but we are 2 to green, getting the 1 to go signal next time by. And this, Steve, is going to be one of the most exciting restarts, if I had to predict, of the year so far.
And we will just have to see how it plays out. We is here tonight, maybe a couple more than that. And with that being said, all of these drivers have been involved, as you said, in something here at South Boston for the DQ Mountain Road 250. As the pace car will be pulling in pretty quickly here. We will be taking a green flag. 7 laps remaining, and we've got a car around.
No caution as 57 spun into the apron there. Jay Goodwin to the bottom. Mike Rhino to the bottom. Rhino looks to take second off of turn number 4. Rhino to second. And it's going to be Revolution Racing 1-2 as we work 6 laps to go.
somehow, some way, Mike Rhino and Keith Mack have lived to tell through all of the brutal accidents here tonight at South Boston, and now they are up 1-2. Keith Mack, a driver who is consistent all race long, although I didn't really think he would be my pick to win, but now he's up in the lead and he's got it. And unless his teammate Mike Rhino can come up with a magic hat trick, I've got a feeling these final 4 laps are going to click off incredibly quickly here for this number 22, because he is ready to get the victory lane here in the Maritime Racing League.
3 laps to go. Rhino doing everything he can to catch his Revolution Racing teammate Keith Mack. It looks like it won't be enough, as we're going to get the 2 to go. Popsicle sticks in the air, the white flag and the checkered flag crossed for these drivers remaining on the racetrack. 2 laps remaining.
And what a long race it has been, Brandon. I thought we were going to see a lot of green flag racing, but what do you think you're going to see when you've got almost 30 cars taking the grid at a track as small as this one and as tight as this one with no banking? So definitely a long night for a lot of drivers, but here Keith Mack coming across, leading 23 laps here tonight, including this one, and he will be your winner.
Keith Mack in the number 22 is your winner tonight after 250 long laps. It's going to be Keith Mack taking down the win. Mike Rhino second, Kyle Gaiman third, Jake Goodwin fourth, and Mackenzie Brewer rounds out your top 5 here tonight at South Boston.
And pulling the results up on your screen, Keith Mack, your winner. Mike Rhino, second. Kyle Gaiman, third. Good finish for him, surviving the night. Jake Goodwin, fourth. Mackenzie Brewer, fifth. Ronald McKay, sixth, your pole sitter. Craig McDonald, seventh. Jeff Gilmore, eighth. Sean Pierce, after leading the most laps, finishing ninth. Kyle Boudreau, finishing in 10th, rounding out top 10. And then Travis Roma, Chris Stewart, Mike Alexander, Chris Wanacott, Ricky Arbaugh, Todd Cousins, Chris Roma, Christopher Garnett, Don Steves, Nicholas Noggle. He's 121 laps down. Tough night for him. And then Jarrett Butcher, Tony Stevens, Stephen Matthews, Kevin Savory, Nathan Doherty, Ashton Tucker, Tim Terry, David Cassidy, and then drivers that did not start the race. But with that being said there, Brandon, I do believe we can call it a night here.
Calling it a night after a very long night. What a night it was here in the Maritime iRacing League, as it's going to be Keith Mack down the win after 250 long laps here tonight. So congratulations to Keith Mack and the whole Revolution Racing team here tonight for what was a great run by the whole team, and a very perseverance run and a perseverance showing by that team week in and week out. And it's going to be Keith Mack taking down the win tonight.
Well, with that being said, Checkered Flag Interactive is set and ready to call it a night. Thank you all for tuning in. We will be back same place, same time next week. Catch us tomorrow for the Upper Edge CMC Sportsman Series, and then catch us Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern for the Rose IndyCar Series. But we are tuning off for the night, so Checkered Flag Interactive, thanks you all for watching. See you next time. The DQ Mountain Road 250 at South Boston is over.